Again, I did mention that a lot of animals will get in the road sometimes. So they could be walking in and out of the road, which is why we could be going a little bit slower right now. Oh, but over on the left, it could be hard to see just because of where they are. There are some sable antelope. Makes sense, they're a little bit further back behind those bushes, so you might have to kind of turn your body to see them. They like their own space, they are territorial, but they are the symbol or the emblem of the reserve. And they earn that title because whenever in a fight or flight situation, they're one of the only antelopes to stand up and defend themselves, just like we stand up for all animals and helping protect them and their land. Also, their horns are curved backwards, which act as a defense mechanism if predators were to ever jump on their backs, like lions. And in their herd, there is a dominant male and a dominant female, but they have different responsibilities. The male is going to be the true leader of the herd, but the females are going to lead them through the entire migration. Up ahead, we'll see the Ankole cattle. We'll notice their horns. They are a lot different than the sables. They're not nearly as heavy as they look. They're almost hollow inside, made of a honeycomb-like structure. Blood will go through their horns, throughout their body, and back up their horns, so a continuous cycle to help keep them cool. That's what I call their built-in air conditioning, but it's also called thermoregulation. And those horns can grow to be about 5 to 6 feet from point to point.
5 to 6 feet.
Also known as the Watusi cattle, named after the first tribe that domesticated them. They were once considered a sign of
Look at the
wealth.
zebra. You see the zebra? And the
The
giraffe?
zebra and the giraffe running around. Or I think it's all giraffe run. So up ahead, we'll see the tallest land animal in the world, the giraffe, along with the Hartman's mountain zebra. Both animals have something in common. Both will sleep standing. The giraffe way more often. And for the zebra to get a deep sleep, they do have to sit down or lay down. Now the zebra that we saw running, again the Hartman's mountain, is actually one of the smallest of their species. Despite their size, they have a heart that is twice as large as any other zebra, helping to pump more blood as they typically live at higher altitudes. Because of that, their hooves are going to be shaped a little different to help them run up that rocky terrain. And as we saw them running, they can actually run about 45 miles an hour. That's the average speed of a lion. Okay, so lots of animals are running around here, I guess, because the zebras are running.
Oh, you see they running?
So there's an eland running around. I wonder if the eland was hanging out in the bushes here and the zebra spooked her.
Yeah, too bad for my.
So the eland is actually the largest antelope in the world. They are about 6 feet tall at the shoulder, and they can jump straight up in the air about 6 to 8 feet. They don't need a running start to do that. And the I did say she, so it is a female eland that we'll see. I believe that's the female. And we can tell based on the color of her coat. So females will always have that lighter gray color, while for the males it is usually a grayish blue. Yeah, there's the male. He's the one that's kind of trotting a little bit. So you'll see how his coat's kind of changing colors a little bit towards his head. Oh my gosh, what are they doing? The eland is actually, this type of eland is actually the slowest out of all the elands because there are different subspecies. Now since we're talking speed right now, this giraffe here, they can actually run about 35 miles an hour. But they can only maintain that speed in short bursts, so their average speed is around 10 to 15 miles an hour. I'm honestly surprised that the wildebeest aren't running around either. Once one runs, they all run. So we got a small herd of wildebeest. In the wild, it could be up to 1,000, tens of thousands, or they will migrate in a super herd of up to 1.5 million. That makes them the second largest densely populated herd in the world, second to humans. Jeez.
Oh my
Gosh. It's so quiet when they run, too. Is there another one? Oh my gosh, okay. I thought someone was like, there's another one. Okay, so we got a group of giraffe here that is called a tower. This is the Maasai giraffe, and you can tell based on their patterns. They're a little more jagged, like puzzle pieces, while for others, they are square or rectangular. Now we're going to explore other parts of the savannah next. See if we can spot the animal that could be knocking down some of these trees. Over on the right, just by the trees there, we'll see the African elephant. One of the largest of their species. Big difference in size and the size and shape of their ears. It's believed they get their name because their ears are shaped like the continent of Africa. And then over to the left, you might see the mandrills walking around just by the bushes. If you can't see them, sometimes you can hear them. Any noises they make can be heard over 2 miles away. And we do know a famous mandrill by the name of Rafiki. But out of those 2 animals that we saw, the elephants are the ones knocking down those trees for food if they have to. Sometimes they'll knock them down just to get them out of their way. They eat over 300 pounds of vegetation a day based on their size, and some can grow to weigh over 12,000 pounds. Because they need to eat so much food, a lot of times in the wild they will end up on farmers' land, because right now they are suffering from habitat loss due to the mining of coltan, which can be found in our electronics. Take a look at your cell phones. Coltan is found in our cell phone batteries and our laptop batteries, and right now the mining of it is unregulated, destroying their homes. In search of food, they will end up on farmers' land, destroying their crops and property, which does result in them being harmed. But the solution was found right here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, where researchers went out to study their behavior, and they discovered that they are terrified of bees. They spread that knowledge across the world, where they then created the Elephants and Bees Project. They built these beehive fences, put them all the way around farms, so when they would get too close or bump into it, the bees would wake up and chase the 12,000-pound animals away from crops. It's like a scarecrow for them, but as a safe practice, eventually they learn to find food somewhere else. So it helps out farmers, they keep their crops, they get some honey, and then it helps save those bees. And now there are over 22 countries participating in those conservation efforts. Well, we are still exploring elephant country. See what signs we can see, what signs we can spot. Males typically live by themselves or with a group of others. It's called a bachelor herd. The herd is made up of the adult females as well as those younger ones. You could call that the family group or a memory. They live in a matriarchal society, so it's led by a female, and it's usually the oldest and largest in the herd. Elephants are also considered a keystone species, which means if they were ever removed from the environment, the ecosystem around them would completely change. They're also called ecosystem engineers. They not only help the environment for themselves, but for other animals as well. When they knock down all those trees, they can create new migration pathways for animals like zebra and wildebeest. And when you think of pollinators, you're not going to think of elephants and giraffe, but they're actually some of the world's largest pollinators. Because the giraffes spend so much time eating during the day, they are in their heads in the trees collecting food, and then their head gets pollen all over the place, and then they spread across the savanna. And then for elephants, when they knock down trees to grab food, they will then go to the bathroom and spread seeds across the savanna, which create food for all different animals. Up ahead on the left, we'll see the greater flamingo. When they hatch, they're actually gray and will turn pink after eating brine shrimp. There is beta carotene in the shrimp, and that's what helps them turn that very pretty pink color. They lay 1 egg per nesting season, and it takes about 30 days or so for that egg to hatch. But then it takes almost 2 years for them to reach that color. They are one of the larger flamingos. It's where the term greater comes from. It would take a lot of brine shrimp for them to turn a vibrant pink, so they have one of the lighter shades of their species. Now we are entering the outskirts of the savanna. I do see some of these mud pits up ahead, which means there could be some white rhinoceros nearby. Actually, we might be holding for one of those rhinos. So we're just gonna hang out here until the animal does move out of the road.